Step 5, flow state in relationships. Maybe you're used to your mind wandering when you're in the middle of conversations. Maybe that happens when you're having sex and you start to fantasize about a different woman. When that's happening to you, it's happening to her. When you're fantasizing about fucking a different woman whilst you're having sex with your partner, she's fantasizing about being fucked by a different guy. Not being in a flow state for your relationships is horrible. So we need to fix that. Because otherwise, all you're going to have are these sad and stupid, shallow relationships, which are just pointless. If you're with someone who's constantly overthinking and they're not even present and they're not even conscious next to you, it's like they're not even there to begin with. If you're the one who's not present, if you're the one whose mind always wanders when you're next to people, there's no point in you even being there. There's no point in them inviting you for you to be there next time. People don't want to be around others who they can tell aren't very present because it's a very ugly trait to have. Imagine me and you were speaking. You're telling me something important and you can see that my mind just drifts. You can physically see it. You instantly would lose respect for me. And even if you somewhat liked me, the truth is you wouldn't want to spend much more time with me. Now, relationships are one of the most important parts of our lives. And in fact, in the book that I read for this video, it's called Flow by Mikhail Csikszentmihalyi, like this guy who discovered the concept of flow states. He actually ended up finding that through his studies, work and relationships were the times when we were most happy, but also most upset and depressed. The kind of like two big extremes. Work can make you super, super happy because you get into a flow state and you feel super happy with yourself, but it can make you super depressed because you could hate your work, you hate the commute and everything else attached to it. Relationships can make you super happy because it can be you in a flow state with people that you love. It can be this loving relationship that you have with this beautiful feminine woman, and it could be your mother telling you stories, but it could also be this abusive boss. It could also be this dad who shouts at you. It could also be this girlfriend that you don't even like. So they're the two extremes now. If we can get to the top end of this extreme, and then you can start to live this very unique, happy life. Step 5.1, why relationships get boring. This is exactly what happens, and you can clarify me if I'm wrong, but you meet this girl and things are super, super exciting. You actually get butterflies on the thought of like meeting her in person or calling for the first time. You're shaking, right? That means that the challenge for this task is actually quite high. But with the girl that you end up attracting, usually that means that your skill was at the right level. So the challenge, the sort of difficulty of this situation was high, but your skill level was high. You meet her for another date, it's the same thing. Eventually you have sex and it feels like, it's really perfectly on level like this. Soon you've been in the relationship for 3 months, for 6 months, she's smelt your poop 50 times. The challenge has dropped, but your skill level is still here. This is why relationships feel kind of boring, because your skill's too good for it. This is kind of like playing level 1 on a video game, but just forever. Most couples are the equivalent of that. They're literally just playing like this beginner's game, even though they've got higher skills. So when the challenge and difficulty is very low, but your skill is higher, it results in boredom. You can imagine this, right? Imagine playing a video game that's too easy and then being forced to just play the same level over and over and over again. You'd get bored. You'd want to cheat. You'd want to go play a different video game. Now imagine if you made a pact with this original video game that you would only play that one and none more. You would cheat. Or you'd be tempted to every single day thinking, why the fuck is your relationship so boring when all those other games look so much more fun, right? So how do we fix this? How do we fix the big problem of relationships getting so boring? We need to just increase the challenge level, the difficulty level. This is our skills, this is the challenge, the difficulty. Naturally, when we spend time with someone, the challenge starts going down because we get used to them and our skill goes higher because, we start learning more things about relationships and our ability to express ourselves and to partner up and everything, right? So we're here. We start feeling bored. This is where most couples will live for their entire lives. But the couples who know about flow state will be constantly thinking to themselves, how do we increase challenge and difficulty in our relationship?